The 30 Pieces of Silence. Judas speaks. I never imagined it would end this way. When I first began following Jesus Christ, I believed I had found the man who would change everything. Like the others, I believed he was the one who would restore Israel, the one who would overthrow Rome, and the one who would sit on David's throne and rule with power. I saw the miracles with my own eyes. I watched him touch a leper, and the disease vanished. I watched him stand in the storm and command the wind as if he were speaking to an obedient servant. I saw 5 loaves and 2 fish feed thousands, and when Lazarus walked out of that tomb, wrapped in grave cloths, alive, I thought the kingdom would begin that very day. But it didn't. Instead, he spoke of loving enemies, of turning the other cheek, of giving up our lives, of a kingdom not of this world. And slowly, quietly, doubt began to grow inside of me. The seeds of disappointment. You must understand something about us. We were not scholars or priests. We were fishermen, tax collectors, ordinary men living under Roman boats. Every day we watched our people suffer under occupation. Every day we dreamed of freedom. When Jesus entered Jerusalem and the crowd shouted, Hosanna, I thought it had finally begun. Palm branches filled the streets. The people were ready. All he had to do was speak the word. But instead of raising an army, he wept. He walked into the temple and overturned tables, but not to claim a throne. He spoke of judgment, of suffering, of death, and something inside me snapped. The decision. The priests had been watching him, waiting, and looking for someone close to him to help them. Someone who knew where he went at night. Someone who could lead them quietly away from the crowds. They came to me. The chief priests of the temple, the men who feared his influence over the people, and they asked one simple question. What can we give you if you hand him over? And then they placed the silver before me. It's 30 pieces of silver, the price of a slave. I wish I could tell you it was only about the money, but it wasn't. It was frustration, disappointment, a desperate thought that maybe, just maybe, if he was forced into a corner, he would finally reveal his power. Maybe arrest would force his hand. Maybe then the kingdom would begin. So I took the silver, and in that moment the world changed. The Last Supper. That night we gathered in the upper room. The air was heavy. Jesus washed our feet one by one, even mine. His hands touched the dust on my skin as if he already knew what I had done. Then he said the words that froze my soul. One of you will betray me. The room fell silent. Each man asked, Is it I? When it came to me, I whispered the same question. Surely not I, Rabbi. And his eyes met mine. They were not angry. They were not shocked. They were sorrowful. Do quickly what you must do. He knew. He had known all along. The garden. Later that night, I led the soldiers to the Garden of Gethsemane. Torches flickered through the olive trees. Roman soldiers stood ready. Temple guards waited behind them. And there he was, praying. I had arranged the signal beforehand. The one I kiss is the man. A kiss. A greeting between teacher and student. Between friend and friend. I stepped forward. Rabbi. And I kissed him. In that moment, heaven itself seemed to hold its breath. He looked at me and spoke words I will never forget. Friend, do what you came for. Friend. Even then, even after the betrayal, he still called me friend. The moment I realized, they bound his hands. The others ran. Peter tried to fight, but Jesus stopped him. No angels came, no armies appeared, and no throne was claimed. Only silence. As suddenly I understood something terrifying. He had never planned to resist. He had known this path from the beginning, and I had helped fulfill it. The weight of 30 pieces. The next morning the city roared with rumors. Jesus had been condemned. The priests had taken him to the Romans, and the Romans had sentenced him to die. The cruelest death our world knows is crucifixion. That's when the silver began to burn in my hands. 30 pieces. They felt heavier than the mountains. I ran back to the temple. I threw the coins into the stone floor before the priest. I had sinned, I cried. I had betrayed innocent blood. But they only shrugged. What is that to us? The coins scattered across the temple floor, echoing like thunder. The truth I was too late to see. Only then did I understand. Jesus had never come to conquer Rome. He had come to conquer sin. He had never come to seize power. He had come to give his life. And I had played my part in the greatest tragedy in history, or perhaps in the greatest act of redemption. Because even in my betrayal, the plan of God moved forward. The lamb would be sacrificed, the cross would stand, and the world would be changed forever. History will remember me as the traitor, the one who sold the Son of God for silver. But listen carefully to this truth. My story is not just about betrayal, it is a warning. Because sometimes the greatest danger is not hatred of God, it is the disappointment with Him, expecting Him to act the way we want, and when He doesn't, turning away. The tragedy of my life is not that I followed Jesus. The tragedy is that I stopped trusting Him. And when the darkness closed in, I could no longer see the mercy that was still reaching for me.